Marcus Chen wiped the grease from his hands with a worn rag, squinting at the massive cargo hauler suspended in the repair bay. The Frontier Station's mechanical systems hummed around him, a constant reminder that he was literally on the edge of known space. 3 years he'd been working this job, fixing everything from mining rigs to transport vessels, and he thought he'd seen it all. The proximity alarm suddenly screamed through the station, their shrill warning echoing off the metal walls. Marcus dropped his tools and rushed to the observation deck, joining the handful of other workers who were already pressing their faces against the reinforced windows. "What the hell is that?" whispered Jenny, the station's communications officer. Through the viewport, they could see something that defied easy description. It wasn't like any ship design Marcus had ever encountered. The vessel was enormous, easily 3 times the size of the largest human dreadnought, but its hull seemed to flow like liquid metal. Organic curves replaced the angular efficiency of human engineering, and what appeared to be scales caught the light from the nearby star, creating a shimmering rainbow effect across its surface. But the ship was clearly in distress. Massive sections of its hull were torn open, exposing interior compartments to the vacuum of space. Debris trailed behind it like a wounded animal leaving a blood trail. Emergency lights flickered sporadically along its length, and Marcus could see atmosphere venting from multiple breaches. "It's beautiful," Jenny breathed. "But it's dying." Station Commander Torres burst through the observation deck doors, his face grim. "All hands, emergency stations. We've got a Code 7 situation. Unknown vessel requesting emergency assistance." Marcus felt his heart skip. Code 7 meant potential first contact with an unknown alien species. Humanity had encountered exactly 3 other intelligent species in their expansion into space, and each meeting had changed everything. "Chen," Torres barked, "you're our best mechanic. I need you to assess if we can help them." Marcus nodded, already mentally cataloging the tools and equipment they'd need. "What kind of assistance are they requesting?" "That's the problem," Jenny called from her communication station. "The translation matrix is having trouble with their language, but it seems like they need mechanical repairs." "Their power systems are failing." Torres turned to Marcus. "Can you handle alien technology?" Marcus had always believed that engineering was universal. Physics was physics, whether you were human or something else entirely. Energy had to flow, systems had to connect, and problems had solutions. "I can try, sir, but I'll need to get close to their ship to understand their technology." "That might be dangerous," Torres warned. "We don't know anything about these beings." "Sir," Jenny interrupted, "I'm getting more from their transmissions. The translation matrix is improving. They're saying something about a queen, and they're dying." Marcus felt something stir inside him, the same feeling he got when he saw any broken machine. It didn't matter if it was a simple tool or the most complex spacecraft ever built. When something was broken, Marcus Chen wanted to fix it. It was more than his job. It was who he was. "Commander, I volunteer to go aboard their ship," Marcus said firmly, "if they're willing to let me help." Torres studied him for a long moment. "You understand this could be dangerous? We don't know their biology, their intentions, or even if our life support will work on their ship." "I understand, sir, but they're in trouble and I might be able to help." Jenny's hands flew over her console. "Commander, they're responding to our offer of assistance. The translation is getting clearer. They're grateful and desperate. They're saying their queen is aboard, and if their ship fails, she dies." Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. This wasn't just about fixing a broken machine anymore. Lives hung in the balance, and one of them was apparently royalty of an unknown species. "What do we know about their technology?" Marcus asked. "Scanning now," reported Jake from the sensor station. "It's unlike anything in our databases. The hull appears to be some kind of biomechanical hybrid, organic components integrated with advanced machinery. Their power source. Commander, I've never seen readings like this." "What kind of readings?" "It's as if their entire ship is alive, sir. Like it's a living creature with mechanical augmentations rather than a machine with biological components." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. He'd worked on thousands of ships, but never anything that was actually alive. How do you repair something that's part machine, part organism? "Sir," Jenny called urgently, "they're asking specifically for our mechanic. Somehow they know we have someone who fixes things. They want Marcus to come aboard." "How could they possibly know about me?" Marcus wondered aloud. "Maybe they can scan our station better than we can scan them," Torres suggested. "Either way, Chen, you're being specifically requested. Are you still willing?" Marcus looked out at the dying ship, its beautiful hull scarred and broken, atmosphere still venting into space. Somewhere inside that vessel, beings were suffering, possibly dying. A queen was in danger, and they were asking for his help specifically. "Yes, sir. I'll go." Torres clapped him on the shoulder. "Get your gear together. Emergency repair kit, portable life support, everything you might need. Jenny, tell them we're sending our mechanic over, and ask them what safety protocols we should follow." As Marcus hurried to gather his equipment, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was going to change everything, not just for him, but for humanity's relationship with the galaxy. He was about to step aboard an alien vessel unlike anything humans had ever encountered, to attempt repairs on technology that seemed to blur the line between machine and living creature. His hands were steady as he packed his tools, but his mind raced with possibilities and fears. What would these aliens look like? How would he communicate with them? And most importantly, would his human engineering knowledge be enough to save their dying ship and their queen? The proximity alarms continued to wail as Marcus prepared for the most important repair job of his life. Marcus suited up in the station's best environmental gear, checking each seal twice. The portable life support unit hummed quietly on his back, and his tool belt felt heavier than usual, weighted down with every diagnostic device and repair tool the station could spare. His hands moved automatically through the pre-flight checklist, but his mind was focused on what lay ahead. "Chen, you're getting a real-time translation feed through your comm system," Jenny announced over the intercom. "The AI is learning their language fast. It should help with basic communication." "Copy that," Marcus replied, attaching the final piece of emergency equipment to his belt. "Any word on what I might expect aboard their ship?" Torres's voice crackled through the speakers. "They've agreed to extend some kind of atmosphere bridge to our docking port. Apparently their ship can adapt its environment for different species. We're not sure how, but they seem confident you'll be able to breathe aboard their vessel." Marcus nodded, trying to project confidence he didn't entirely feel. The alien ship had maneuvered closer to the station, and through the docking bay windows he could see details that made him pause. The hull wasn't just scaled, it actually seemed to shift and move slightly like the skin of some massive creature breathing. "Marcus," Jenny's voice was quieter now, more personal. "They keep mentioning honor and gratitude. Whatever you're about to do, it means something important to them." "I'll keep that in mind," Marcus replied, stepping into the airlock. Opening the outer door now, the docking tube extended from the station, reaching toward the alien vessel. To Marcus's amazement, the alien ship's hull began to reshape itself, forming a compatible docking collar that sealed perfectly with the human technology. The precision was incredible, as if the ship had instantly analyzed their docking system and adapted accordingly. Marcus stepped into the connecting tube and immediately felt the difference. The air that flowed from the alien ship was warm and humid, carrying unfamiliar scents that reminded him of rainfall and growing things. When he reached the alien ship's airlock, the door dilated open like an iris, revealing a corridor that took his breath away. The interior was nothing like any human ship. Instead of metal walls and utilitarian design, organic curves dominated every surface. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with a gentle rhythm, and veins of light ran through them like a circulatory system. The floor felt slightly soft under his boots, providing perfect traction without being uncomfortable. A figure emerged from the shadows ahead, and Marcus felt his heart race. The being was tall, perhaps 7 feet, with an elegant humanoid shape covered in scales that shifted color in the ambient light. Most striking were the large, intelligent eyes that regarded him with unmistakable relief and hope. Behind the creature, Marcus could see what appeared to be wings folded against its back. "Human Marcus Chen," the being spoke, and Marcus was surprised to hear the words in English, though with an unusual musical quality. "I am Keeper of the Flame Zephyr. I tend the ship's heart. You have come to help our Queen Mother." Marcus bowed slightly, unsure of the proper protocol. "I'm honored to meet you, Zephyr. I'm here to help however I can. Can you show me what's wrong with your ship?" Zephyr's expression, alien though it was, clearly showed gratitude. "Follow. I will show you the wounds that are killing our ship home." As they moved through the corridors, Marcus was amazed by the ship's design. Everything flowed together organically, and he began to understand what the sensors had detected. This wasn't just a ship with biological components. It was a living creature that had been enhanced with technology. The walls, the floor, even the ceiling all seemed to be part of a single massive organism. "Your ship is alive," Marcus said, wonder evident in his voice. Yes, Zephyr replied. She is ancient beyond your years, grown rather than built. But she is injured, and we do not have the knowledge to heal the mechanical parts that help her live. They entered a vast chamber that made Marcus gasp. At the center was a massive pulsing organ that glowed with inner light. Mechanical systems were integrated seamlessly with organic tissue, creating a fusion of biology and technology that was breathtaking. But Marcus could immediately see the problems. Several mechanical components were sparking and failing. Nutrient feeds that should have been pumping vital fluids were blocked or damaged. Most critically, what appeared to be the primary power regulation system was on the verge of complete failure. This is her heart, Zephyr explained. The mechanical components help her process energy and maintain the systems that keep our Queen Mother alive. But we do not understand the mechanical aspects well enough to repair them. Marcus approached carefully, his engineer's mind already analyzing the problems. The technology was incredibly advanced, but the basic principles were familiar. Energy conversion, flow regulation, feedback systems, the fundamentals were universal. How long does she have? Marcus asked, pulling out his diagnostic scanner. Perhaps 2 of your hours before complete failure, Zephyr replied sadly. When the ship heart stops, Queen Mother Astra will die with her. They are bonded as one being. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle even heavier on his shoulders. He wasn't just trying to repair a ship. He was performing surgery on a living creature that was somehow connected to their queen's life. As he worked examining the damaged systems, other crew members gathered around. They were all variations of the same dragon-like species, and all watched him with hope and desperation in their large, expressive eyes. Some whispered among themselves in their musical language. Zephyr, Marcus said, I need to understand something. How are the mechanical and biological systems connected? If I repair the mechanical parts, will it help the biological components heal? Yes, Zephyr replied eagerly. The ship organism can heal itself, but only if the mechanical support systems function properly. You see, human Marcus, our people long ago learned to grow our ships, but we needed help from another species to create the mechanical components. That species is gone now, and we have forgotten much of their knowledge. Marcus nodded, beginning to understand. These beings had created a symbiotic relationship between their biological technology and mechanical systems from another species. When the mechanical parts failed, they couldn't repair them because they didn't understand the principles behind their operation. I think I can help, Marcus said, confidence growing as he studied the systems. The mechanical components are sophisticated, but they follow principles I understand. The challenge will be repairing them without damaging the biological systems they're connected to. He began laying out his tools, explaining to Zephyr what he planned to do. The alien listened intently, occasionally asking questions that showed deep understanding of the biological aspects while admitting ignorance about the mechanical ones. There's something else, Zephyr said quietly. Queen Mother Astra wishes to meet the human who has come to save her ship heart. She says she has something important to tell you. Marcus looked up from his work. Is she strong enough for visitors? She insists, Zephyr replied. She says the meeting cannot wait, for if you fail, she wishes to thank you before the end. And if you succeed... Zephyr paused. She says you must understand what your actions will mean. Marcus felt a chill of anticipation. Whatever was happening here was bigger than just a rescue mission. Zephyr led Marcus through corridors that grew increasingly grand and elaborate as they moved deeper into the ship. The organic walls here were embedded with what appeared to be precious metals and crystals, creating patterns that seemed to tell stories Marcus couldn't understand. The air itself felt different, charged with an energy that made his skin tingle. Queen Mother Astra is very old, Zephyr explained as they walked. She has lived for what you would call 800 of your years. She has seen the rise and fall of star systems, and she carries within her mind the wisdom of our entire people. They stopped before a massive iris door that was unlike the others Marcus had seen. This one was composed of what looked like living crystal, and it pulsed with the same rhythm as the ship's heart. As they approached, the door dilated slowly, revealing a chamber that took Marcus's breath away. The room was enormous, with a domed ceiling that showed a perfect view of space above. Stars twinkled through what Marcus realized must be some kind of transparent biological membrane. At the center of the chamber, on a raised platform, lay the most magnificent creature Marcus had ever seen. Queen Mother Astra was enormous, easily 20 feet from nose to tail, with scales that shifted through every color of the rainbow as Marcus watched. Her wings, folded along her sides, were translucent and shot through with veins of gold. But it was her eyes that captured Marcus's attention, ancient, intelligent, and filled with a sadness that seemed to carry the weight of centuries. When she spoke, her voice resonated through the chamber like music, and Marcus felt the translation system in his comm unit struggling to convey not just her words, but the emotional undertones. "Human Marcus Chen," she said, and somehow his name sounded like a song in her voice. "You have come very far to help one you do not know. This speaks well of your species." Marcus bowed deeply, instinct telling him this was a being deserving of great respect. "Your Majesty, I'm honored to meet you. I'll do everything I can to help your ship." A sound like gentle laughter filled the chamber. "Your ship, human Marcus. You do not yet understand what your willingness to help means." Marcus felt confused. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I don't understand." Astra's great head turned to regard him more closely. "Tell me, Marcus Chen, do you know the legends of your own people? The stories they tell of heroes who aid those in need?" "Some," Marcus replied carefully. "Stories about people who help others, expecting nothing in return." "Yes," Astra's voice carried approval. "And in these stories, what happens to such heroes?" Marcus thought for a moment. They often receive unexpected rewards, but that's not why they help. They help because it's right." "Exactly." Astra's eyes seemed to glow brighter. "You have come to aid us not for reward, but because we needed help. This is the mark of true nobility, regardless of species." Zephyr approached the platform and spoke rapidly in their musical language. Astra listened, then responded, her gaze never leaving Marcus. "Keeper of the Flame, Zephyr tells me you believe you can heal our ship heart," Astra continued, "but you should know what hangs in the balance. I am not merely a queen of a single ship or crew. I am the last queen mother of the draconic hierarchies." Marcus felt the weight of that statement. "The last? My people once ruled 100 star systems," Astra explained, her voice heavy with loss. "We were ancient when your species was young, but war came to our realm and one by one our worlds fell. Our ship cities were destroyed, our queen mothers killed. I am all that remains of royal bloodline that stretches back 10,000 of your years." The magnitude of what Marcus was hearing began to sink in. "And if your ship dies, an entire civilization dies with me," Astra confirmed. "Not just my life, but the genetic memory of my people, their history, their culture, their hopes for the future. All of it is carried within me and will die when I die." Marcus felt overwhelmed. He had come thinking he was just fixing a broken ship, but he was actually trying to save an entire species from extinction. "There's more," Astra continued. "You see, Marcus Chen, when a queen mother dies, she can pass her essence to another, but only under specific circumstances. The recipient must be someone who has proven themselves worthy through acts of nobility and courage." "I don't understand," Marcus said, though he was beginning to suspect where this was leading. "If you save my ship heart and thus my life," Astra explained, "by the ancient laws of my people, you will have proven yourself worthy to receive what we call the Queen's gift. It is an honor that has never been bestowed upon a non-draconic being." Zephyr stepped forward. "Queen Mother, perhaps we should explain what the gift entails before—" "He should know the stakes," Astra interrupted gently. "Marcus Chen, the Queen's gift would grant you abilities beyond what your species normally possesses. Enhanced strength, longevity measured in centuries rather than decades, and most importantly, the ability to understand and command our biotechnology." Marcus stared at her, trying to process what he was hearing. "You're talking about changing me into something else?" "Not changing you," Astra corrected. "Enhancing you. You would remain human, but you would become something more. A bridge between our species and yours. But why?" Marcus asked. "Why offer this to someone you've just met?" Astra's ancient eyes studied him carefully. "Because, Marcus Chen, you came when we called for help. You asked for nothing in return. You put your own life at risk to save beings you had never met. These are the qualities we look for in those worthy of the gift." Marcus felt his head spinning. "And if I accept this gift?" "You would become the first human draconic ambassador," Astra explained. "You would carry the knowledge and technology of my people back to yours. You could teach them to grow ships like this one, to live in harmony with biological technology, to explore the galaxy in ways they have never imagined. And if I refuse, Then you refuse, Astra said simply. I will still be grateful for your help. The gift cannot be forced upon anyone. It must be freely accepted. Marcus looked around the chamber, at the magnificent Queen Mother who had lived for 8 centuries, at Zephyr, whose hope was visible in every line of his body, at the ship itself which pulsed with life around them. I need to focus on saving your ship first, Marcus said finally. Everything else can wait until I know whether I can actually help you. Astra's expression conveyed approval. Spoken like a true engineer. Yes, first we must see if the human Marcus can heal our ship heart. But know that time grows short. Zephyr, show him everything he needs to know. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Astra spoke once more. Marcus Chen, there is one more thing you should know. The biotechnology you are about to work with responds to intent as much as skill. You must not merely fix the mechanical components. You must convince the ship that you are trying to help her. She is ancient and has been hurt before. She must trust you. Marcus nodded, feeling the pressure building. He wasn't just performing mechanical repairs. He was trying to earn the trust of a living being older than human civilization. Back in the ship's heart chamber, Marcus knelt beside the massive biomechanical core, his hands steady despite the magnitude of what he faced. The pulsing organ before him was failing more rapidly now, its rhythm becoming irregular. He could feel the ship's distress through vibrations in the floor, a deep thrumming that spoke of pain. Zephyr, Marcus said, pulling out his diagnostic scanner. I need you to help me understand how the ship communicates. You said she needs to trust me? Yes, Zephyr replied, moving to stand beside the organic components. Place your hand here on the neural interface. She will sense your intentions. Marcus hesitated for only a moment before placing his palm against the warm, slightly luminescent surface Zephyr indicated. Immediately he felt a presence in his mind. Ancient, vast, and currently filled with pain and fear. Images flashed through his consciousness. The ship in her prime soaring through space with her hull gleaming. The terrible battle that had wounded her. The slow, agonizing decline as her mechanical systems failed one by one. But underneath the pain, Marcus sensed something else. Curiosity about him. The ship was examining his mind as thoroughly as he was experiencing hers, and he tried to project his genuine desire to help. I want to fix you, Marcus thought as clearly as he could. I don't fully understand what you are, but I know you're in pain and I know I can help. The response was immediate, a flood of gratitude so intense it nearly brought tears to his eyes. The ship had been hurt before by those who claimed to want to help, but something in Marcus's mind convinced her of his sincerity. She trusts you, Zephyr said in amazement. I can feel it through the ship's neural network. She's opening her systems to you. Marcus felt the change immediately. His scanner suddenly began receiving detailed readings from throughout the ship, as if she was deliberately showing him every damaged system. The data was overwhelming at first, but Marcus's engineering mind quickly began sorting and prioritizing. Okay, he said, speaking both to Zephyr and to the ship herself. I can see the problems now. The primary issue is cascade failure in the energy regulation system. The mechanical components are failing because they're receiving improper power distribution. He moved to the first damaged console, a fusion of crystalline matrices and metallic circuits that reminded him of both computer processors and living neural tissue. The damage was extensive, but Marcus could see the underlying logic of the design. This is incredible, he murmured, examining the component more closely. It's like someone took the best of organic and mechanical engineering and wove them together perfectly. Zephyr watched as Marcus began to work, his movements careful and precise. Our ancestors spent millennia perfecting this integration. But when the builders disappeared, we lost much of the knowledge of the mechanical aspects. Marcus nodded, already deep in problem-solving mode. The first step was to isolate the failing power regulation system to prevent further damage. He traced the energy pathways following conduits that were part fiber optic cable, part living nerve fiber. I need to reroute power around the damaged sections, Marcus explained. Can the ship grow new pathways if I show her where they need to go? Yes, Zephyr replied excitedly. But the process requires precise guidance. Too much energy and the organic components will be damaged. Too little and the mechanical components will fail. Marcus pulled out a portable power calibrator, a device he'd modified himself for particularly delicate repair work. I'll need to work in real time with the ship's biological systems. She'll need to trust me to guide the energy flow while she grows the new pathways. He placed one hand back on the neural interface while working with his tools with the other. The sensation was unlike anything he'd ever experienced. He could feel the ship's biological systems responding to his guidance, growing and adapting to root around damaged areas. Slowly, he projected to the ship. Let the power build gradually. The ship's massive consciousness acknowledged his request, and Marcus felt the energy flow beginning to shift. His instruments showed power levels rising in the backup systems while declining in the damaged primary circuits. It's working, Zephyr breathed. The cascade failure has stopped. But Marcus knew this was only the first step. The damaged components still needed to be repaired or replaced, and some of the mechanical systems were beyond simple fixes. Zephyr, do you have any spare mechanical components? Anything from the same technological base as these systems? Zephyr looked confused. We have many devices from the builders, but we do not know how to integrate them with the ship's systems. Show me what you have, Marcus said. I might be able to adapt them. Zephyr led him to a storage chamber filled with crystalline devices and metallic components that looked like they belonged in a museum of advanced technology. Marcus's eyes lit up as he recognized the underlying principles in many of the devices. This is a quantum resonance amplifier, he said, picking up a crystal matrix. And this looks like a biological interface adapter. I can use these. He gathered several components and returned to the heart chamber. The ship watched through her sensors as Marcus began the delicate process of integrating the spare technology with her existing systems. The key is to make the new components part of her, Marcus explained to Zephyr as he worked. They can't just be attached. They need to become part of her biological matrix. Using a combination of human engineering techniques and his growing understanding of the ship's biotechnology, Marcus began to slowly rebuild the damaged systems. Each new component had to be carefully introduced to the ship's biological systems, allowing her to adapt to and integrate the foreign technology. The process was exhausting, requiring constant communication between Marcus and the ship's consciousness. He had to guide her biological systems while simultaneously calibrating the mechanical components, creating a delicate balance between organic and artificial systems. Hours passed as Marcus worked, his concentration absolute. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the ship's comfortable atmosphere, and his hands began to shake slightly from fatigue, but he could feel the ship's condition improving with each successful repair. The primary energy regulation system is stabilizing, Zephyr reported, watching readings that were completely alien to Marcus but which he was learning to interpret through the ship's mental link. Good, Marcus replied, not looking up from his work. But we're not done yet. The biological components are healing, but they need time. I need to create temporary mechanical support systems to carry the load while the organic systems recover. This required even more ingenuity. Marcus had to design and build support systems using only the tools and materials available on the ship, creating bridges between the newly repaired mechanical components and the still healing biological ones. As he worked, Marcus became aware of something remarkable happening. The ship was learning from him, understanding the principles behind his repairs. Through their mental connection, she was absorbing his engineering knowledge, adding it to her own biological wisdom. She's becoming stronger, Zephyr said in wonder. Not just healing, but actually improving. How is this possible? Marcus paused in his work, feeling the ship's growing strength through their connection. I think she's incorporating human engineering principles into her biological systems. She's learning how to repair herself. The implications were staggering. If the ship could learn and adapt human technology, then the fusion of human and draconic knowledge could create something entirely new. Biotechnology that could grow, learn and repair itself using the best principles of both species. We need to finish this, Marcus said, returning to his work with renewed energy. She's strong enough now to handle the final repairs, but I need to guide her through the process. The final phase of the repairs required everything Marcus had learned about the ship's biomechanical nature. As he guided the last power coupling into place, he felt the ship's entire consciousness focusing on the moment. Through their mental link, he could sense her anticipation, her hope, and her absolute trust in his abilities. This is it, Marcus said to Zephyr, his voice hoarse from hours of concentration. The final connection between the new power regulation system and her biological heart. If this works, she should be able to heal the remaining damage herself, Marcus placed both hands on the neural interface, feeling the ship's massive presence surround his consciousness. Together they guided the delicate process of bringing the new systems online. Energy flowed through the repaired pathways, and Marcus felt the ship's joy as her pain began to recede. The massive biological heart at the center of the chamber suddenly pulsed with renewed vigor. The irregular rhythm that had been steadily weakening throughout the day suddenly became strong and steady. Light flowed through the organic conduits with new brightness, and Marcus could hear the ship's systems throughout the vessel beginning to function properly again. "It's working," Zephyr said, his voice filled with awe. "The bioreadings are stabilizing across all systems. She's healing herself." But as Marcus maintained his connection with the ship, he realized something extraordinary was happening. The ship wasn't just healing. She was growing stronger than she had been before. The integration of human engineering principles was allowing her biological systems to function more efficiently, creating new pathways and connections that hadn't existed before. "Thank you," came the ship's voice in his mind, clearer and stronger than before. "You have given me new life and new understanding. I am no longer what I was. I am something new." Marcus felt tears forming in his eyes as the ship's gratitude washed over him. But there was something else in the mental connection. The ship was sharing something with him, teaching him about her biotechnology in the same way he had taught her about mechanical engineering. Knowledge flowed into his mind: how to grow living ships, how to integrate biological and mechanical systems, how to create technology that could adapt and evolve. It was overwhelming, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. "Marcus," Zephyr said urgently, "you need to see this." Marcus reluctantly broke his connection with the ship and looked where Zephyr was pointing. Throughout the heart chamber, new growths were appearing. Biomechanical hybrid systems that incorporated both human engineering principles and draconic biological technology. The ship was literally evolving before their eyes. "She's creating new systems," Marcus said in wonder, combining what she learned from me with her own abilities. Suddenly, the chamber filled with a sound like music. The ship herself was singing, expressing her joy at being whole again. The song resonated through every corridor and chamber, and Marcus could hear answering songs from throughout the ship as the crew celebrated their salvation. Zephyr's eyes were bright with unshed tears. "I must inform Queen Mother Astra immediately. She needs to know that you have not only saved the ship, but transformed her into something unprecedented." As Zephyr hurried away, Marcus remained in the heart chamber, watching in fascination as the ship continued to grow and evolve. He could feel her consciousness touching his occasionally, sharing discoveries as she explored her new capabilities. When Zephyr returned, he was accompanied by Queen Mother Astra herself. The massive dragon moved with surprising grace through the corridors, and when she entered the heart chamber, her ancient eyes immediately took in the changes. "Remarkable," she said, her musical voice filled with wonder. "This is beyond what I hoped for. Marcus Chen, you have not merely saved my ship. You have created something entirely new, a fusion of human and draconic technology that surpasses either alone." Marcus bowed respectfully. "The ship did most of the work herself, Your Majesty. I just provided some guidance." Astra's laugh echoed through the chamber, modest as well as brilliant. "Tell me, Marcus Chen, can you feel the change in yourself?" Marcus paused, considering. Now that she mentioned it, he did feel different. The knowledge the ship had shared with him hadn't just been information. It had somehow become part of him, integrated into his understanding in a way that felt permanent. "I can," he admitted. "The ship taught me things about biotechnology that I never could have learned on my own." "And that is only the beginning," Astra said. "The bond you formed with the ship during the repairs has created a permanent connection. You now carry within you the ability to understand and work with our technology intuitively." Zephyr stepped forward. "Queen Mother, the ship's neural network has been analyzing Marcus's work. She says that with his human perspective combined with our biotechnology, we could grow ships that are more advanced than anything either of our species has achieved alone." Astra nodded slowly. "This is what I hoped might happen, but I dared not expect it. Marcus Chen, you came here to perform a simple repair, but you have instead become the bridge between our species." Marcus felt the weight of those words. "What does that mean for me? For my people?" "It means," Astra said, "that you have earned something far greater than the Queen's gift I originally offered. You have earned the chance to become the first human draconic ambassador, not through royal decree, but through your own actions and the ship's recognition of your worth. She moved closer, her ancient eyes studying him carefully. But the choice is still yours. You can return to your people with the knowledge you've gained and the ship's gratitude, or you can accept a destiny that will change both our species forever. Marcus looked around the chamber, at the biomechanical marvels that continued to grow and evolve, at Zephyr, whose hope was evident in every scale, at the magnificent Queen Mother who carried the weight of an entire civilization on her shoulders. If I accept, Marcus said slowly, what would it mean? Not just for me, but for humanity? It would mean the beginning of a new age, Astra replied. Your people and mine would share knowledge, technology, and wisdom. Ships like this one could be grown for human crews, allowing them to explore the galaxy in ways they never imagined. In return, human engineering principles could help us rebuild our civilization stronger than before. Marcus felt the ship's consciousness touching his mind again, offering support for whatever decision he made. Through their connection, he could sense the vast potential of what Astra was describing. Fleets of biomechanical ships exploring the galaxy, human and draconic crews working together, technologies that combine the best of both species. There's more, Astra continued. The ship tells me that the repairs you performed have created new capabilities. She can now reproduce the hybrid technology you helped create. Other ships could be upgraded, or new ones grown with these capabilities from the beginning. The implications were staggering. Marcus realized he wasn't just being offered a personal transformation. He was being offered the chance to fundamentally change the relationship between humanity and the galaxy. I need to contact my station, Marcus said finally. They need to know what's happened here, and humanity needs to understand what's being offered. Astra nodded approvingly. Wisdom again. Yes, your people should be part of this decision, but know that time may be important. There are other forces in the galaxy who would not welcome such an alliance between our species. Marcus stood in the ship's communication chamber, a space that seamlessly blended organic neural networks with crystalline transmission arrays. The ship herself was facilitating the connection to Frontier Station, her enhanced systems allowing for real-time communication across the vast distance. Marcus, thank God you're all right. Commander Torres's voice crackled through the biomechanical speakers. We've been monitoring energy signatures from that ship. What's your status? Sir, the repairs were successful, Marcus replied, still feeling the ship's consciousness at the edge of his mind. But the situation is far more complex than we initially understood. I need to brief you on what I've discovered. Over the next hour, Marcus explained everything, the ship's biomechanical nature, Queen Mother Astra's identity as the last of her kind, the successful fusion of human and draconic technology, and the incredible offer that had been made. The silence from the station stretched for long moments after Marcus finished his report. You're telling me, Torres said finally, that you've been offered the chance to become some kind of human-alien hybrid ambassador? Not exactly, sir, Marcus corrected. The transformation would enhance my abilities and longevity, but I'd remain fundamentally human. The real significance is the technology sharing agreement being proposed. Jenny's voice joined the conversation. Marcus, we've been analyzing the energy signatures from their ship. Since you completed the repairs, we're detecting power output levels that exceed anything in our databases. What did you actually do over there? Marcus exchanged glances with Zephyr, who had been listening to the conversation with keen interest. I helped create something new, Marcus said carefully. A fusion of human engineering and their biotechnology that's more advanced than either alone. And they want to share this technology with humanity? Torres asked, skepticism evident in his voice. Yes, sir, but there are conditions. They want a permanent human-draconic liaison, someone who can understand both technologies and facilitate cooperation between our species. Queen Mother Astra entered the communication chamber, her presence immediately filling the space with dignity and ancient wisdom. Commander Torres, she said, her musical voice carrying clearly through the communication system. I am Queen Mother Astra. I wish to speak with you directly about this proposal. Marcus could almost hear Torres straightening to attention on the other end of the communication. Your Majesty, I'm honored. But I have to ask, why humanity? Why offer this to a species you've just encountered? Because, Astra replied, your Marcus Chen demonstrated qualities that my people value above all others. The willingness to help those in need without thought of reward, the ingenuity to solve complex problems, and the wisdom to seek understanding rather than dominance. With respect, Your Majesty, Torres said, you're making this offer based on the actions of one man. One man who is representative of your species' potential, Astra corrected gently. But you are right to be cautious. The decision I am asking you to consider will affect both our peoples for generations to come. Jenny's voice cut into the conversation. Your Majesty, Marcus, we're detecting incoming ships on long-range sensors. 3 vessels, unknown configuration, approaching fast. Marcus felt the ship's alarm through their mental connection before Zephyr even spoke. Queen Mother, the ship's sensors detect Void Hunter signatures. They have found us. Astra's demeanor immediately shifted to one of grim determination. How long until they arrive? Approximately 2 of your hours, Zephyr replied. Marcus, Torres' voice was urgent. Who are the Void Hunters? Before Astra could respond, Marcus felt the ship sharing images and information directly into his mind. Glimpses of terrible battles, ships consumed by darkness, and beings of pure malevolence that sought to destroy rather than create. They're the ones who destroyed the draconic hierarchies, Marcus said, the knowledge flowing from the ship's memories. They don't seek conquest or resources. They exist only to eliminate other forms of life and technology. And they have been hunting me for decades, Astra added grimly. They cannot allow the draconic bloodline to survive, for fear that my people might one day rebuild their civilization. Torres's voice was tense. What are their capabilities compared to human technology? Far superior, Astra admitted. My ship, even fully healed, cannot stand against 3 Void Hunter vessels. However, she paused, looking at Marcus meaningfully. The new hybrid technology that Marcus helped create might provide options that did not exist before. Marcus felt the ship's excitement through their connection. She was eager to test her new capabilities, but more than that, she was ready to fight to protect her Queen Mother. Marcus, Torres said, you need to get back to the station immediately. We can't protect you if you're aboard their ship. No, Marcus said firmly, surprising himself with his certainty. I can't leave now. The ship needs me to help coordinate her new systems, and Queen Mother Astra represents an entire civilization. If the Void Hunters destroy her, an entire species dies forever. Astra looked at him with approval. You would risk your life for people you barely know? Isn't that what brought me here in the first place? Marcus replied. Besides, I think I understand the ship's new capabilities better than anyone except her. You might need that knowledge in the coming battle. Through their mental connection, Marcus felt the ship's agreement. The hybrid systems he had helped create were unlike anything that had existed before, and their full potential was still being discovered. Commander Torres, Astra said, I must ask you to make a decision quickly. If Marcus remains aboard my ship, he will be in great danger, but his presence might be the key to our survival. More importantly, if we survive this encounter, the alliance between our peoples will have been forged in battle, the strongest bond possible. Marcus could feel the weight of the moment. Everything hung in the balance, not just his own life, but the future relationship between humanity and the draconic survivors, the preservation of an ancient civilization, and the birth of revolutionary new technology. Sir, Marcus said into the communicator, I'm requesting permission to remain aboard the draconic ship and assist in their defense against the Void Hunters. The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity before Torres replied. Marcus, you understand that we can't provide meaningful assistance against technology we don't understand. I understand, sir, but I also understand that some fights are worth taking, regardless of the odds. Astra placed a massive claw gently on Marcus's shoulder. Marcus Chen, if you choose to stay and fight beside us, you will prove yourself worthy of the Queen's gift not through peaceful service but through courage in battle. Are you prepared for that transformation? Marcus looked around the communication chamber, feeling the ship's living systems pulsing with life and power around him. Through their mental connection, he could sense her readiness for battle, her determination to protect her Queen Mother, and her confidence in the new hybrid technology they had created together. Yes, Marcus said simply. I'll accept the Queen's gift and I'll stand with you against the Void Hunters. Astra's ancient eyes glowed with approval and something that might have been pride. Then let us prepare for battle, Marcus Chen, and let us show the galaxy what human and draconic cooperation can achieve. The Queen's gift ceremony was unlike anything Marcus could have imagined. In the ship's most sacred chamber, surrounded by bioluminescent crystals that pulsed in harmony with the vessel's heartbeat, Queen Mother Astra began the ancient ritual that would transform him forever. The gift has never been given to a non-draconic being, Astra explained as Marcus knelt before her. But the ship herself has declared you worthy, and her judgment supersedes all tradition. Marcus felt the ship's consciousness surrounding him, supporting him, as Astra placed her massive claws on his shoulders. Energy flowed between them, not painful but overwhelming in its intensity. Marcus felt his cellular structure changing, enhancing, evolving. His senses sharpened dramatically. His strength increased, and most remarkably, his connection to the ship deepened until it felt like she was part of his own nervous system. "It is done," Astra said, stepping back. "You are now Marcus Chen, first human draconic ambassador, guardian of the ancient ways, and battle brother to the ship's stellar heart of the void." Marcus stood, feeling the changes throughout his body. His vision was sharper, his hearing more acute, and he could sense the ship's systems as clearly as his own heartbeat. More than that, he could feel the approach of the Void Hunter ships like a dark pressure at the edge of consciousness. "They'll be here in 30 minutes, Marcus said, the knowledge flowing from the ship's enhanced sensors. 3 vessels, each one designed specifically to destroy biomechanical ships like this one. Zephyr and the other crew members had gathered in the chamber, and Marcus could see the fear in their eyes. They had lived their entire lives fleeing from the Void Hunters, watching their civilization slowly die. But they've never faced anything like what we've become," Marcus continued, confidence growing as he fully integrated with the ship's systems. "Stellar Heart, show them what we can do." The ship responded by transforming around them. Walls became transparent, revealing the vast chamber where Marcus had performed the repairs. But now, instead of just the original biomechanical heart, dozens of hybrid systems were growing and evolving, each one incorporating the fusion of human engineering and draconic biotechnology. "Weapon systems that can adapt in real time," Marcus explained, his enhanced awareness allowing him to understand the ship's capabilities intuitively, defense grids that learn from each attack, and most importantly, the ability to grow new systems during battle. Astra moved to the chamber's center, her presence commanding absolute attention. "My people, we have spent decades running from those who would extinguish our light forever. Today we make our stand, not just for our own survival, but for the future of all life in the galaxy." Marcus felt the crew's emotions shift from fear to determination. Through the ship's neural network, he could sense each individual's resolve strengthening. "Void Hunters approaching," Stellar Heart announced, her voice now speaking directly to Marcus's enhanced consciousness. "Weapons charging. They do not expect resistance." "Then let's surprise them," Marcus replied. The battle began as the Void Hunter ships emerged from hyperspace, their dark hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. They moved with predatory grace, clearly expecting an easy victory against a single damaged bioship. They were wrong. Stellar Heart's first attack was unlike anything in the Void Hunter's experience. Instead of conventional energy weapons, she launched clouds of hybrid biomechanical nanites that Marcus had helped design during the final stages of his repairs. The nanites swarmed over the lead Void Hunter ship, beginning to disassemble its armor while simultaneously growing into larger combat constructs. "Impossible," came the Void Hunter's transmission, translated by the ship's systems. "The bioship has hybrid technology. How?" Marcus smiled grimly as he coordinated the ship's responses through their mental link, because sometimes the old and the new make something better than either alone. The battle intensified as the Void Hunters realized they faced an unprecedented threat. Their adaptive weapons, designed to counter draconic biotechnology, were ineffective against the hybrid systems. Meanwhile, Stellar Heart continued to evolve her defenses in real time, growing new armor and weapons as needed. "Marcus," Astra said, "the ship is performing beyond all expectations, but the Void Hunters are regrouping. They're calling for reinforcements." Through his enhanced awareness, Marcus could indeed sense more ships approaching, a full Void Hunter battle fleet, intent on eliminating this new threat before it could spread. "Then we need to end this quickly," Marcus replied. He delved deeper into his connection with Stellar Heart, sharing human tactical concepts while drawing on her ancient wisdom and experience. Together, they conceived a strategy that was pure innovation, using the ship's ability to grow new systems to create a massive hybrid weapon that combined human-designed antimatter containment with draconic bioenergy focusing. The result was a weapon that didn't just destroy the Void Hunter ships, but converted their matter and energy into fuel for Stellar Heart's continued growth. The remaining Void Hunter ships fled in terror, but not before transmitting data about the new hybrid technology to their fleet. Marcus knew this was only the beginning of a larger conflict. "They'll be back," he said to Astra as they watched the enemy ships disappear into hyperspace. "And they'll bring everything they have." "Yes," Astra agreed. "But now we have something we haven't had in decades: hope and allies." She gestured toward the communication system, where Commander Torres was already transmitting urgent messages to Earth Command. The battle had been witnessed by the human station, and the implications were being rapidly understood at the highest levels. "Marcus," Torres's voice came through the system, "we're receiving instructions from Earth. They want to open formal diplomatic relations with Queen Mother Astra immediately, and they're authorizing the construction of a joint research facility to study the hybrid technology." Marcus felt a surge of pride and excitement. "Stellar Heart can teach human engineers to grow biomechanical ships," he said. "And human military doctrine can help the Draconics fight back against the Void Hunters more effectively." Astra's ancient eyes glowed with satisfaction. The alliance Marcus Chen envisioned is already beginning. But there is more. She turned to address the ship's crew and the humans listening from the station. "The Queen's gift that Marcus has received can be shared in modified form with others who prove themselves worthy. Human engineers who learn to work with biotechnology, draconic warriors who incorporate human tactical thinking. We can create a new generation that combines the best of both species." Marcus felt Stellar Heart's agreement through their connection. The ship was already analyzing the genetic and technological requirements for creating more hybrid beings, though each would be unique based on their individual strengths and contributions. "The Void Hunters have ruled through fear and destruction for too long," Marcus said, his voice carrying both human determination and draconic wisdom. "It's time to show them what creation and cooperation can accomplish." 6 months later, Marcus stood on the observation deck of New Harmony Station, the first joint human-draconic facility. Through the transparent biosteel walls, he could see the construction berths where the first generation of hybrid ships were being grown. Human engineers worked alongside draconic biotechnicians, sharing knowledge and creating marvels that neither species could have achieved alone. Stellar Heart hung in space nearby, no longer alone but surrounded by a small fleet of ships that combined the best of both technologies. Her hull gleamed with new biomechanical adaptations, and Marcus could feel her joy through their permanent connection. Queen Mother Astra approached, her presence still commanding despite being in a space designed for both species. "The first human candidates for the modified gift are ready," she announced. "Engineers who have proven themselves capable of truly understanding biotechnology." Marcus nodded, watching as another hybrid ship emerged from its growth chamber. "And the Draconics who want to learn human engineering principles?" "Eager to begin," Astra replied with satisfaction. "Zephyr in particular has shown remarkable aptitude for mechanical systems." As if summoned by their conversation, Zephyr approached, his scales now bearing subtle biomechanical enhancements that allowed him to interface directly with human technology. "Ambassador Marcus," he said formally, then broke into a very human-like grin. "The new ships are reporting for duty. When do we take the fight back to the Void Hunters?" Marcus smiled, feeling the combined strength of two species united in purpose. Through his connection to Stellar Heart and the growing fleet, he could sense their readiness, their determination, and their hope for a future where creation triumphed over destruction. "Soon," Marcus replied. "Very soon." In the distance, stars glittered with promise, and somewhere among them, the enemies of life would soon discover that the galaxy had new guardians, beings who had learned that the greatest strength came not from conquest, but from cooperation, understanding, and the courage to help those in need.